Thank you so much for that, Kim. Let's get into your forecast conditions now. And before we do that, let's check in with Kevin. He's having just too much fun in Niagara-on-the-Lake. Oh, that just looks great. Wish we could smell it, though, right? Wouldn't that be great? Let's take a look at what's going on with regard to our weather. Is it going to be as cold as they would like? Probably not, actually, because as we get into the later part of the week, the temperatures are warming up. Now, are we still seeing some precipitation? Yes, there is some snow. But for us, and we're not talking about any major warm spells, it's just the temperature sitting at about seasonal values. So we do have a low pressure system by Friday to our north. May see a result of that being some scattered flurry activity by the time we get into the Saturday period, which you can see here on your 7-day forecast. It certainly does, and some really great photography there, no question. We have a whole bunch more online at theweathernetwork.com. But right now, let's go to Niagara-on-the-Lake. It is time for the Ice Wine Festival, and that's where we find Kevin. Having said that, we're talking about the Ice Wine Festival. We need some cold temperatures. That's happening through the overnights. During the daytime, though, we see a trend toward really more moderate and warmer daytime highs heading into the weekend. A couple of different clipper systems coming across and to our north on Friday. This may result in some Saturday scattered flurries. Those two low pressure systems will come together and move off into Atlantic Canada. But a look ahead now in terms of temperatures, the trend, and mind you, this is keeping in mind the overnight temperatures too, but the trend is that by the end of the week, we're going to see a slightly milder spell of air across the south of the province. With regard to the scattered flurries, not a lot here, just about a centimeter of snow. Well, we're not getting any wacky winter wallops this week, at least, so I'll get more into your forecast details in just a moment. Let's turn it first, though, over to Kevin Yard, and he is down in the Niagara area for a very special event. And the Ice Wine Festival continues. Thank you so much for that, Kevin. In terms of weather patterns, we are not looking at very much. Now, these clipper systems are just grazing by the extreme southwest of the province. So Windsor, Chatham getting a little bit of snow from them. However, later this week, by Friday and Saturday, we'll see these two low pressure systems merging together and off into Atlantic Canada they go. But that one to the north may bring us a little bit of scattered flurry activity for Saturday. It's not a big snow expected in Toronto. And if anything, we see the temperatures staying pretty much at seasonal values. No great anomalies yet. There is some indication, though, that in the long-range forecast beyond this 7-day, that we're going to get a spell of really cold air to end January and begin February. We'll have details on that in your long-range forecast. Absolutely. Skiing is one of the best things that we can do during the winter months, isn't it? And, so when we get, into our daily routine and we're living in the city, it's important to remember that we've got some really great opportunities to get out there. Look, though, at a different part of the province, and that's down into the Niagara region where the Ice Wine Festival continues, and we'll join up with Kevin. Thanks, Kevin. And we're getting those types of temperatures in the overnights for at least the next couple to maybe few overnights. But in terms of the temperatures now is going to be the case for us. Now, that's not the same situation down in the southwest. We've seen some snow, Windsor, Chatham. We'll likely see another clipper system just grazing by there by tomorrow. And then another one by Friday to our north brings us some scattered flurry activity Saturday. Very light, about a centimeter of snow, and then those two systems merge and off they go into Atlantic Canada. But the trend toward the temperatures is that we see things slightly moderating as we go into the last part of the week, so it won't be as cold to end as we've started the work week. Look at the 7-day forecast. Thank you so much for that, Mark. And Mark and Mike had quite an adventure as they traveled across the country, and you can see the highlights of that trip online at theweathernetwork.com. But let's turn it over to Toronto and see what's going on with regard to the temperatures. Well, the city of Toronto, as those temperatures drop into the minus mid-teen wind chills overnight. So we're still dealing with some cold air the next couple of overnights, and then we should be breaking free from that trend. But there's a bit of snow down toward the southwest. Another clipper comes through tomorrow and brings some snow. Friday, some scattered precipitation in terms of flurries for Toronto. Better chance in Ottawa and Montreal, certainly, for Saturday. But it may just bring us a little bit of light snow, and we're talking probably less than a centimeter of snow accumulation. An extreme cold weather alert issued for the city of Toronto as the temperatures now have dropped, and through the overnight we can expect our daytime high of -6 to go down into the minus mid-teens in terms of wind chill. That's how it's going to feel. So we certainly are in a spell of cold weather for the time being. There's also some snow out there across southern Ontario, but it's not in the GTA. It's down toward the southwest. Windsor and Chatham seeing some of that snow from clipper number 1, then clipper number 2 comes in on Wednesday and brings some more snowfall once again. But we are in the clear precipitation, a really good driving week across the GTA and the 7-day forecast. We can see the temperatures here are rising. 1 degree on Saturday with a little bit of scattered flurry activity to start the weekend. I'm Sheryl Plouffe with your weather update. The next best chance of snowfall for the GTA is Saturday. Between now and then, we see the temperatures rising. It's a little cold today, yes, and we have a cold weather alert in place for the city of Toronto as the temperatures will dip down with wind chills in the minus mid-teens. So it's definitely a cold overnight, and even through this evening in Toronto, expecting to be at about -8. The 7-day forecast, temperatures begin to drop off, and that may be a sign of the end of January ending off far colder than it began. Sheryl Plouffe, meteorologist Jacqueline Woodall with you.
It's warm. We talk a lot about the difference in air masses when we deal with a continental air mass, you know, where we get the cold from the poles, and it takes a lot longer for water to heat and cool, so it keeps them mild most of the year.
In Vancouver yesterday, it was 10 degrees when we saw that video. Today, 7. Not too bad. Seasonal temperatures persist. Rain on the north coast, but we'll see some wet weather arriving for southwest BC by, I would say, late Wednesday and into Thursday. That's when the pattern begins to change, break down the ridge temporarily, and the rain moves in.
That's right. And watch these isobars here over the Rocky Mountains. They come together closer. That means we're looking at strong winds. Whenever we get winds on the eastern side of the Rockies, that's downsloping winds and a big bump in temperatures.
Yeah, the temperatures are rising significantly. Double digits in Calgary expected later this week and even for the weekend ahead. And also expecting to see a little bit of snow, less than 3 centimeters, but blowing snow and reduced visibility will be the result.
Yeah, it's been the kind of the case with a lot of these Alberta clippers. Really moisture starved until skiers ready to go. I know we talked about, I'm not much of a skier, but I think it looks like a lot of fun. I'm just not very good.
Yeah, I mean, it is definitely a lot of fun. But, you know, one of the things that we're seeing now that we're in January is that the temperatures are cold at times, and we're seeing a lot of the lakes freezing over now, which would then, you know, quell that potential for the lake effect.
You bet.
Back into Ontario, it's been very cold. In fact, this morning in Timmins, waking up into wind chills in the -40s. That cold air is sinking down across the south.
And it'll be a modified air mass, so not quite as cold as what we saw the last few weeks, and then not quite as cold as where we're going. You have to stick around to hear from Dr. Doug and I to find out just how cold it will be. But the ongoing top story today, of course, got 70 centimeters today.
Yeah, you know, and we did a little bit of research, admittedly. Labrador City and adjoining Wabush, 68 centimeters plus of snowfall. Population between the two towns, about 12,000 people affected by all that snow. 68 plus. Now we have another maybe 15 to 30 on top of that. So we could be exceeding 100 centimeters of snow by the time the system moves away.
That's right. And then you factor in those winds, blowing, drifting, poor visibilities. Averages versus totals. How did we do this year? Gander, your average was 96 centimeters. The actual was below at 46.
Goose Bay is seen over a foot. Most of the impact of our last low in terms of snowfall has been over Labrador. Not only is there the snow, but there's been the reduced visibility, of course, at times less than a kilometer in some cases, and then back down into the North Shore of Quebec, we've seen snowfall and even some extended periods of freezing rain and pellets too. But the snowfall totals very high to the north. Now on the backside of the low, we're seeing some sea effect in western Newfoundland, especially because the winds generally now are from the west or southwest. So still a gusty day. There will be another low pressure system Thursday, possibly to end the week as well. We'll have to watch the computer models. There's some indication that this is trending further west, and there are details being worked out behind the scenes. We have high pressure building in across eastern Canada. But let's go to Inniskillin Wines. Let's talk ice wine with Kevin in the Niagara. Yeah, I think that's the key. You know, ice wine in and of itself is pretty sweet, but you pair it with just the right food, and it's delicieux. Let's take a look at Ontario. It's colder now today, -6 in Toronto. Timmins woke up to wind chills in the -40s, and we will see the cold air remaining in place for the time being. Cold overnight lows. We're talking about ice wine conditions. You need to be at least -8 for there to be ideal conditions for that harvest, but certainly looking actually at warmer temperatures into the end of the week. Let's go back to Calgary and check in with Deb. And the winds have eased in Alberta. They're still a bit brisk in Saskatchewan. And in addition to that, the snowfall from the Clipper, some reduced visibility at times and blowing snow over those expanses of land. But we are looking actually at some decent temperatures and, as Deb mentioned, warming in Alberta. For Vancouver, Victoria, near seasonal temperatures, not quite as warm as it was yesterday. System on deck, making its way into the southwest of the province. By the time we get to, say, late Wednesday, more so Thursday, Friday, and that will spell a period of wet weather ahead of us for the BC coast. That video, you can hear the wind howling there, right? We've had some strong winds in Labrador as well, and a lot of snowfall, and it continues into tomorrow morning as that low pressure system tracks northeast and departs. We've already seen over 70 centimeters of snow in some cases, and we're going to add more on top of that in portions of Labrador, like Labrador City, for example. We've also got the cold temperatures remaining in place. Quebec City feeling near minus 30 overnight, minus mid-20s, colder than it's been. Yesterday we saw some milder temperatures. Today, minus 6 in Toronto, with a wind chill in the minus low teens. But we have an extreme cold weather alert in place for the city of Toronto as those temperatures overnight feel like in the minus mid-teens. So it's a little bit dangerous cold across southern Ontario tonight. The weather highlights now looking ahead to Wednesday. Clipper system down to the southwest. Some snow in the Lake St. Clair region. Through Wednesday, tomorrow morning, southern Saskatchewan, less than 3 centimeters of snow with blowing snow on top of, or with wind resulting in blowing snow on top of that. So some reduced visibility at times. Cold temperatures, sure. Minus 20s, minus teens. But we'll start to see a breakdown of that ridge slowly heading into Friday and Saturday, and then it builds back in once again next week. So some decent rains now developing on Thursday, Friday for the BC coast. That includes Vancouver, getting a spell of wet weather that will continue through Saturday and likely through Sunday as well.